It was a Christmas present like no other. On December 26, 2000, 40-year-old Mark Richt was named the head football coach of the University of Georgia Bulldogs. 5 years earlier, Richt had turned down the top job at the University of Pittsburgh, saying he was not quite ready. But with the Bulldogs, Richt has proven to be more than up for the challenge. 5 years, 5 bowl appearances, and more than 50 wins. And since World War II, Richt is one of just 4 coaches to win 2 SEC championships in his first 5 seasons. Despite all that success, Mark Richt is not exactly a household name, at least outside the SEC.
I called Mark and offered him the job, and he initially turned it down. The old saying, you better be careful what you ask for, you may get it.
When you first met Vince Dooley to discuss this job, how'd you find out you got the job?
Well, Coach, he called me a couple days earlier than I thought he was going to call me, and I got real nervous, and I'm like, Coach, I just don't know if I want to take this thing or not. And
Why?
Well, it's a massive responsibility. And he said, well, you need to think about it and sleep on it. And first thing in the morning, you need to tell me what you're going to do. And my brother's like, what are you, nuts? I was talking to him on the phone. Well, anyway, I got my bearings straight again, and I decided I wanted the job. And so I called him probably 2 o'clock in the morning, because I was afraid he'd sleep on it and then he'd change his mind. So I called him about 2 a.m. and said, Coach, I want the job. And so anyway, he did. He asked me, he says, why you call me at 2 in the morning? I said, well, I was afraid you'd sleep on it and tell me no, so I wanted to catch you while you were still asleep.
This is our house, senior. Last shot at an SEC opponent in this house. You don't help these seniors get that victory tonight, you hear me? All right, let's go. Ready? Let's go.
Prior to the launching of your coaching career, to go back to being cut and having your playing career over, how do you think that situation shaped you?
My career ended the day Jim Kelly started against Penn State in my second year of college. That's when my career really ended. I just didn't know it yet. I always felt like if I did my part, I'm going to get everything I want. I was going to start as a freshman. I was going to be All-American my second year, and I was going to go to the NFL after I won the Heisman my 3rd season. And doggone if Jim wasn't doing that instead of me. So, I mean, it was just a great life lesson, you know. I worked hard. I studied. I did everything that I thought I needed to do to become the star and the starter, and it didn't happen. I was still hoping against hope that I'd have an opportunity to play in the NFL, and I got an opportunity to go as a free agent to the Denver Broncos, but old John Elway was there, you know, and that didn't help me much. Then the next year I went to the Miami Dolphins, and that was the year that Dan Marino showed up. So I think the Lord knew that I was going to be a quarterback's coach one day, and he's got a little sense of humor. He knew I couldn't look in the mirror to see what a great one looked like, but he put Kelly and Marino and Elway in my path to give me a sense of what a good one really looks like.
How does it form the soul of a coach to be cut?
Yeah, well, I think for me, you know, I have a lot of empathy for the guy that's not the starter. I know the starter rarely needs to have his arm put around him and say, everything's going to be okay, you know. Sometimes starters need to be spoken to, but usually they need to be knocked down a peg or two. But the guys that are in that backup role, or the guys that get cut, or the guys that get beat out, or get moved from first team to second team or whatever, it's a very difficult time. It can be a crushing blow. I didn't handle it very well at all. I turned to all the wrong things.
Like what?
Just, you know, before that happened, I spent all my moments trying to become All-American on the field, and after that happened, I spent a lot of time trying to be All-American in the nighttime games, I guess, you know. When your life, as you see it, crumbles around you, it's not very fun, and then when you see what's left over, it was a pretty sad story, I thought.
He was an insurance guy for a little while, and he actually was a bartender for a little while, but he got fired because he was watching the football.
I didn't think I was the best son in the world. I didn't think I was the best brother. I didn't think I was a very good friend. I was just so consumed with me. I was so self-centered that I really probably wasn't a really good guy to be around. So I had a long way to go, and that was the beginning of my growth process, I think.